Good evening. I'm Chanel, Vehicle Title Expert. Thank you so much for tuning in, and thank you in advance for subscribing. So, tonight I will be talking about auto title fraud. Many of you have heard me talk about auto title fraud in the past, but tonight I will be talking about a particular segment that is really not heard of. This particular auto title fraud is pertaining to MCOs, or a certificate of origin. MCO scam, essentially. Okay, so I will talk about what an MCO is. I will share my very own experience pertaining to us receiving these fraudulent, documents, and basically what happened. Okay, so for those of you who are not aware, a MCO, or certificate of origin, what I have here is a certificate or document for a brand new vehicle that comes from the manufacturer of that vehicle. Okay, the manufacturer of that vehicle gives that certificate of origin to that dealership that represents their make. So if you are buying a brand new vehicle from a Nissan dealership, then the Nissan manufacturer would have given that dealership a certificate of origin. Okay, representing Nissan. Okay, Chevy, same thing. Honda, same thing. So again, the manufacturer of that particular vehicle, that make of that vehicle, holds that MCO and passes it along to the dealership for that brand new vehicle. The dealership, in turn, if the paperwork for that MCO is correct, was submitted to the DMV, and that MCO is converted into a title. Essentially, that's what happens when an MCO is present. Okay. Now, a few years ago, a company sent some MCOs to my team, and I was a whole bunch of them, and they wanted to get titles and registrations for the MCO. But there was a problem. Okay, we proofed the documents, and unfortunately, the documents were fake. Now, I have a copy of one of the MCOs that we received, and this is the front of the MCO, and I'm going to highlight two problems with this MCO here. I know I have everything blotted out for security purposes, but I just want you guys to get a good look at this MCO here. So, the first red flag for this MCO is the fact that the manufacturer is not present here. Now, what I have here is a 2018 Nissan Maxima. If this was a legitimate MCO, since this is a Nissan should have been printed here at the top of this MCO. That's the first thing that you look for when you have that MCO. Now, the vehicle information of this being a 2018 Nissan Maxima is present. That's perfectly fine. But Nissan is missing. So again, that's a problem. Okay. The second thing that is wrong with this MCO is this here. Now I have this blotted out, so I want you guys to use your imagination. This here is a dealership that is not a Nissan dealer. So essentially, you have this MCO that was presented to a dealership that did not represent Nissan. Okay, this was a used car dealer. Let's say it was ABC Auto Sales, as an example. Okay, no affiliation with Nissan. So that's the second problem. This right here, this dealership here should have been a Nissan dealer. Okay, so that's the second red flag. So that there let me know there was an issue. Also, going to the back of the MCO, the dealership that was on the front sold this vehicle to a rental car company, and this section here and here was notarized. Okay, not too much of a big deal, you may think, but I want to talk about the notarization part because I want you guys to understand that even though it's notarized, the title was still fake. And, you guys can easily get tricked because you think, oh, it's notarized, so it must be legit. That's not the case. So I'm a notary, and the role of the notary, one of the roles of the notary, or two, is to be aware of who it is that's, in front of you. Verify the identity of that person and to also verify their signature. That's the role of the notary. So the role of the notary is not to determine whether this MCO on the back is legit or not. That's not the role of the notary. So even though you see these notarizations here, I want you guys to understand that fraudulent activity can still transpire. So if you're being presented with an MCO of any sort and you see that notarization there, don't just get all excited and think that it's legit. You must look further. You must observe the document that is in front of you. Okay, be very careful about that. So, long story short, my team and I, we did not process those MCOs that came to our office because they were fake. They were not legitimate documents at all. And if you guys were to see this document here, the average person on the street would think that it's legitimate. Okay. So going further, if you were to go to, let's say, a Chevy dealership and you're buying a 2025, Chevy Silverado, so to speak, you should be getting this MCO from Chevy. Okay. As an example. If you go to a mom and pop dealership, you should not be receiving an MCO. If you do, there's a problem. Okay. So I want you guys to be aware of that. If you buy a vehicle from someone off the street, okay, an average Joe, they should not be giving you an MCO. Okay. Let me also talk just a little bit further about MCO just to give you guys more insight. So for those of you who purchase trailers, let's say from Home Depot or Lowe's, you will be receiving an MCO for that trailer that you purchased because Lowe's is representing the make of that trailer in question. Okay, so they can give you an MCO, and that's perfectly fine. Okay, Lowe's would be a dealer in this regard for that manufacturer. Just like if you're purchasing your vehicle, brand new, that dealership is going to be representing the manufacturer. So I just wanted to, just share a little bit more about that. But I want you guys to be very careful when you are, receiving a certificate of origin. Make sure you look at it on the front very, very closely and carefully. If you do not see that manufacturer's, name at the top, that's a first red flag. The second, that dealership, not necessarily the dealership you purchased from, but a Nissan dealer, as an example of this one here, should have been on their front. So you want to look at that front of the MCO and make sure it is a dealership representing that make. And if you see anything different from that, then most likely you have a fake MCO. And my recommendation, stop that transaction. Do not move further. Just stop it and walk away. If you have any questions pertaining to fraudulent MCOs or an MCO scam, maybe you or someone were involved or a victim of this type of scam, I want to hear from you. Drop me a line below. Or if you need insight pertaining to any type of auto title fraud matter, I still want to hear from you as well. Check me out on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. Please click share and subscribe. I hope to hear from you soon. Thank you.